the Mad Queen. Welcome into the Queen's Lair. This is another all about video where I just go in depth about one hero specifically. If you're interested in learning more about other heroes like this, you can actually check out my playlist on the main channel of my YouTube where I do have quite a few heroes that I've gone over just like this. Also, if you're a new player or an experienced player, join my growing Discord community. It's an excellent way for beginners to ask for advice and for experienced players to also give some advice as well. The link for that is always in the description of all of my videos. So Ciara is another OG hero. There are, I'm sure, a lot of other guides on her, but I am really trying my best to go back and make updated versions or hero spotlights on all of these older heroes because there's been a lot that's changed in the game. So Ciara is actually now a hero that you can synthesize. That was not always the case. You could not synthesize Ciara for honestly quite some time. You could get a copy of her for free if you completed the Void Tower hard. And then I think there was one other way you could get her, but I can't remember because it's been so long. I've had her for a really long time. Ciara is an excellent hero. I'm serious, like she is so good. And if you've been wondering if you don't have her, yes, you should synthesize her because she is, I mean, she's completely insane. And unfortunately, I've actually never synthesized a copy of her. Oh, you can't see, but I do have her 6 times ascended. So she's fully ascended, level 70. That's something to keep in mind because when I go over her base stats, because I will be going over those, all of her abilities, I'm going to be going over her masteries, her ascension, her gear, different builds, and also hero pairings. But at the very end, I'm also going to be rating her everywhere within the game. So if you're interested in seeing that, that is going to be at the very end of this video. But Ciara is a water element hero. So she's blue, as you can see up here. That means she's going to deal extra damage to red heroes or fire element heroes, and she's going to receive more damage from green heroes or wood element heroes. She is a legendary offense hero, and I do have all of her glyphs finished, as well as her abilities. I just want to say this, that it is so important and very imperative that in the beginning of the game, you're focusing on doing everyone's abilities and all of their glyphs as far as you can before you're getting into dungeons. So I just wanted to say that real quick. But as far as her ascension, you get it on, is it 5? No, this one is on 2. This was before Ace decided that we should spend a lot of money on ascensions. But anyways, you're going to gain 1 stack of Vengeful Spirit 2 on enemy deaths, capped at 6 stacks. So, of course, I'll get into that a bit more. As far as her masteries, I do have 10 out of 15 books on her. She's actually the first hero I decided to book. I don't necessarily regret it because she is extremely powerful and I use her in a lot of places, but I also didn't quite understand how all of the mastery upgrades worked and that it was good enough for me to really stop here. But I think that I am going to end up finishing all of her abilities because of what she's able to unlock. I would love to get one more level for her Darkness Falls ability. It's just going to make her do more damage. And of course, with her physique, it's just going to give her even more extra stats. So if you're wondering about prioritizing her and putting books into her, I would say that you could put Nathalia in your top 10. I don't think that she's going to be necessarily, she could be close to your top 5, honestly. It just depends on who you have on your account, but she's an excellent hero and booking her is definitely worth it. And you'll see that whenever I show you my overall stats for her. But actually, I'll go ahead and pull that up now. So I have 5,800 attack, 14,900 health, 1,600 defense, 141 speed, 107 crit rate, 329 crit damage. This is only one of the builds I have for her. I actually do have about 3 builds that I use in between, and it really is going to be dependent on her speed. This is actually not the best build I have on her, but normally she does have about 6,300 attack, 340 crit damage, exactly 100% crit rate, and about 160-ish speed. I don't know why I don't have that set on her, but oh well. Let's go ahead and take a look at her gear. The best set I recommend putting on her is going to be the Avarice set, which you're going to be able to farm from Ash, because it's going to allow her to deal more damage over an area. So let's go ahead and look at all of her abilities so that you can understand why. So her soul, or her trait, Soul's Teller? Oh my gosh. That, I didn't say that. Soul Stealer. She's going to gain 1 stack of Vengeful Spirit on an enemy death, which caps at 6. And of course, like I was showing you, upon Ascension, she's going to gain 1 stack of Vengeful Spirit 2 on enemy deaths. What that is, it's going to give her 8% additional attack, which is stackable up to 6 times. This gives her so much extra damage. Let's take a look here. On her basic ability, Dark Shreds, she's going to gain bonus focus, and she deals 110% damage to one enemy and applies increased damage taken to them for 1 turn. Of course, this damage is going to depend on if you have her booked or not, because I do have her booked and this ability was upgraded. So it would be, I think, 100%, not 110. And increased damage taken, I'm actually a little frustrated because as a legendary hero, I think she should have the bigger version. This is plus 30% damage taken, which is great, don't get me wrong, on her basic ability, but I think that it should be plus 50% and not plus 30. And I say this a lot, but I think that they're a little afraid sometimes to actually make some heroes OP, and that would just take her a step farther. Next, we have her passive, Dark Spread. This is what she's all about, mainly. Her whole kit is just really good. So when an enemy's health drops below 50%, she deals 110% damage to all enemies on a 2-round cooldown. Of course, it's going to be 3 if you don't have her upgraded in her abilities, and then it's going to be 10% less if you don't have her masteries done. And lastly, we have her ultimate ability, Darkness Falls. She consumes all of her Vengeful Spirit stacks and deals 200% damage to one enemy. Damage is increased by 20% for each Vengeful Spirit stack that she consumes. I have this on a 4% or 4-turn cooldown. It's going to be 5 again if you don't have her totally upgraded within her abilities. So Vengeful Spirit here, 5% attack, unstackable, unremovable. And then she gets an extra 20% right here, which is what I'm really trying to work for whenever you get this ability maxed out on masteries. I can't think. A lot of times though, what you're going to do is actually turn off her ultimate ability so that she is not able to use all of her stacks, because this passive is so strong. It's insane. I mean, she does a lot of work. This doesn't just go off of her. If any other allies on the team are able to get an enemy's health below 50%, this passive procs, which is crazy. And it doesn't have to be to every enemy. If one enemy's health is dropped below 50%, her passive will hit all enemies and do an insane amount of damage. So by turning off that ultimate ability, you're keeping all of these all 6 stacks of Vengeful Spirit 2 on her at 8+% attack each. So that ends up being like what, 48% additional attack that's always on her, which is another reason you can really go heavily into her crit damage and lack a little bit of attack percent as well. But let's go ahead and get into her actual build and her overall stats. So for her overall stats, oh, we did already show that, didn't we? Her gear, you can see the average set like I was showing, and that also kind of says a little bit about why you would want to keep her ultimate ability off, because not only is she going to have those stacks, but this set is going to let her do an extra 50% bonus damage when attacking over an area. It can only be triggered 1 time per round, so that is not per turn, 1 time per round, which means every hero on your team and the enemy team takes a turn before she's able to use that ability again. But typically, if you have her built pretty well, nobody is getting an extra turn when you have her on your team. I'll show you here. I don't have the best average sets, unfortunately. I can be a bit lazy with farming my gear, but it's not bad. So for this, we have crit damage. Ow, my dog is destroying my leg right now. But anyways, as you can see, there's 3 rolls into crit damage, which is really good, and also 1 roll into focus. Keep this in mind. I don't think I mentioned this. This can be resisted. So if you don't want it to be resisted, then you should put a little bit of focus onto her. But honestly, I did not try to put that into the build. It just happened to roll like this. As far as her hat or her hood, we have some crit rate, attack percent, and resistance. Ugh. That's why it's only at level 12, because it's not great. And then we have on this piece, we have 3 rolls into crit damage, 1 into crit rate, and 1 into health. I have attack percent here on her boots with crit rate, crit damage, and 2 rolls into flat defense. Jeez. And then I would also recommend either putting it depends. You can either put a Raider set as the second set, because the average set is a 4-piece set and the Raider is only 2. That's going to help you be faster if you need to. Or you can put the Warrior set. The Warrior set is going to give more additional attack. Also, you could look at putting the Rage set on her too, because if you're in the earlier game, it is a bit harder to get a lot of crit rate. So that set is going to give you an additional, I think it's 12%. Yeah, it's going to give you 12% crit rate. So those are a few options. And as you can see, I don't even have, I just have 2 random pieces and not an actual set here. Something else to look at, depending on where you're at in the game, if you do choose to do masteries on Ciara, you will be able to get away with using speed boots and not attack percent boots. I will say this though, Ciara is not somebody that really needs to take a turn because of her passive. So if you make her the slowest person on the team, even if she's going way dead last after all the enemies, that's okay, because her passive is going to take effect, and trust me, it hits, it smacks. So, but then here I have crit damage, attack percent, crit rate, and health. We have attack percent, crit rate, defense, crit damage, and defense. So, like I said, if you want her to overall, actually, what is the focus on mine? 27.5. Okay. But if you want her to consistently land that, you can add some focus. I wouldn't necessarily focus on putting that in though, just depending on what you want to do. So lastly, let's go ahead and head in here, and I'm going to rate her everywhere in the game. I do want to say that I would not pay attention to the in-game ratings. Some of them are accurate, but most of them are not. So please don't use this as a reference point. It can definitely get you into trouble and make you waste some resources, because a lot of people will do ratings before they truly understand the hero. As you can see here, okay, they do actually recommend the Avarice set, Warrior set, and Rage set. Oh, quickly, I didn't mention hero pairings. I personally like to just pair her with, a really good team that you can take for a long time, especially in Arena, is Winstrix with Ciara, and Hitoshi maybe, or anybody that deals AoE damage, or even somebody that hits really hard singularly, so is able to hit and do a lot of damage to one target, because she, like I said, she's gonna do so much damage with her passive ability, and that's really why you want to use her. In Arena offense, why does she have a 4.5? I'm giving her 5 stars, man. Arena defense, I'll give her 3. She's... It depends. She could be higher than 3 stars, but it really does depend. You have to have a decent amount of knowledge about the game and know how to pair her and how to build her if you're going to do this. No Man's Land, Bane Wraith. She is going to get... she's a weak affinity here, unfortunately. So because of that, I'm going to give her 2 stars. Flame Lizard, 5 stars. She's very good here. I use her in my team regularly for that. Wraithful Flood, I'm going to give her 4 stars. She is really good and you can use her there, but it's hard sometimes making these ratings because I do try to keep into perspective early game, mid game, and late game. So you won't really use her there in the late game, but definitely in mid and early game, you'll use her. As far as Lord of Holy Light, we'll give her 4 stars. Shadow Captive, 4 stars. The Roaring Tulpa, she's a weak affinity, so you don't want to use her here. As far as Ash Magisteria, 5 stars. Excellent. Super, super good. Queen of Tides, I'll give her 4 stars. She's not bad here. Witch of the Wind. This is a toughie. She's like 4.5 stars here, I would say. She's not quite 5, but she's a little better than 4, so I'm just going to give her 4. As far as Gemini Dragon goes, this is the hardest content in the game, and it is... You need very specific heroes and a very specific composition to actually complete this. So, although she is a very good hero, she's not somebody that you're going to want to use here. So I'm going to give 2 stars. And then lastly, in the Armored Incursion, I'm going to give her 3 stars. She can be helpful in the beginning and mid stages of your gameplay, but there are so many heroes that are much better to use on the guild boss. I will say, I wish they had some more ratings, but she's really, really good in the Void Tower. She's going to be really good in just helping you farm for jelly and glyphs in adventure stages. You can use her in Endless Trials. She's honestly overall an excellent hero. And just for an overall general rating, I would say that she is like a 4.5 to 5 stars out of 5 for me. An excellent hero. Definitely make sure that you are doing fusions for her. But wait and don't do your fusions until there is a hero upgrading event. That's going to be your most beneficial time to do that, or for any fusion heroes for that matter. So if I didn't mention something or I was unclear, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'd be more than happy to continue the conversation there with you guys about other hero pairings, other gear sets, and whatever you guys might need. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.